We started a journey, and there is a lady here whom I must recognize, Warenga Kibe, the chief of party, of a program, not a project. You are not a project, you're a program. Of a program that is thinking of how we are going to grow institutions, get better investment in those institutions. As we grow ourselves into a powerful network of agriculture, finance, foreign direct investments, industrialization, project management, and many other things. Because really, you don't expect our businesses, more than 90% of our businesses, to walk into a bank and have the credibility of asking for money and getting that money and with the right strategy, if you are not there. And Warenga asked me, how can we build this network of a river of knowledge that is somehow integrated, that grows, that shares each other's skills, so that when we go into a business, we have all the right solutions. An accountant, an auditor, with an investment banker who knows what the investment back was, with a lawyer who will give the legal angle, with a quality assurance process specialist, with an operational strategist. You see, when we stand and call ourselves consultants, we may think we are jacks of all trade. No, we are not. We can be really good in one or two things, but because of the others, we become great, because of the gifts they have.
We are the Kenya Investment Mechanism, a 5-year program that was funded by USAID between August 2018 to August 2023 this year. And this program was funded simply to unlock financing for SME. So we work with financial institutions because they sit on money. Whoever the financiers are, they sit on money and say, I need a good deal. We work with business advisory service providers because you're the financing, the gap that will unlock that. And we also work in a business enabling environment, supporting even counties, working with government to say what are the kind of policy and things that need to move to open the money to flow, because you could be in business, but you're just tied by, you're trying to go to a county. You meet staff that have no idea, they have no data, and you can't talk. So our work is to bridge that gap to ensure that the business, we follow the company. So we follow the company in terms of policy. We follow the company in terms of business advisory. We follow the company in terms of what is the financing they need. So we catalyze the system. So we are only a 35 million funded program, but we have managed to mobilize about 620 million USD in 5 years. I want to repeat that figure. So we have mobilized 620 million USD in 5 years. I want to show you the need, so that you see why are we saying we need a sustainable way to have business advisory service providers continue to serve this country and the region. So I said I'm going to pick an agri, just a sector. So I'm going to give you an example of the agri-SME sector. So ISF Advisors released a report last year on the state of the agri-SME finance. They called it Bridging the Financing Gap. These are ISF Advisors, March last year. So the report was a stocktake of the agri-SME finance in sub-Saharan Africa and Southeast Asia to explore what's needed to move it forward. So listen to this. Remember all this money we have clapped about, but listen to this. Of the 130,000 agri-SMEs in sub-Saharan Africa, the current articulated demand for finance is 90 billion USD. Of this, let me start with the good part. 16 billion has been met, and a gap of 74 billion exists. So only 83%, a gap of 83% of financing for agri-SMEs is not met. And why agri? Because agriculture is where the future is, isn't it? That's where the jobs are. That's where that is what will move our African countries forward. So that's the gap in agri-SMEs. And then it says, what is financed is obviously largely supplied by local commercial banks, which are traditional banks and operating under banking licenses. But they have a risk appetite and can only finance according to their risk appetite. So looking into the dynamics around supply and demand for financing in this sector, there exists a set of tiers. So a tier emerges. The relatively small market for commercial capital. There's a small market for commercial capital. Purely commercial finance for agri-SMEs is relatively small and limited to a select few agri-SMEs that are well known to the local banks. If you work with the banks or MFIs and you come in with a program, you want to support agriculture, I'm telling you there is always a list of who. There are few, they are known. Then the significant market for sub-commercial capital incorporating a range of different subsidies. So like blended finance. So there's a space for that. There's a tier for that. So blended finance with commercial banks, state banks, and social lenders. Remember, a lot of the banks that will finally lend to the agriculture sector really have guarantees. They are de-risked at the back end. And then the third tier, there's a large market gap that is only partially served by the informal finance. In the absence of appropriate financial financing, many agri-SMEs rely on family, friends, and regulated lenders to finance working capital needs and investments in their businesses. So at that simple level, the agri-SME finance agenda aims to graduate agri-SMEs through these layers of finance using scarce subsidies in the sub-commercial market to grow agri-SMEs into more commercially viable prospects. Meaning, can we lend to these agri-SMEs? Can they get formal finance even without subsidies? That's the big agri-finance agenda. And that is why the BASPs are so important. Look at climate finance. Climate finance is a place that we even need to understand. So as the need to mobilize climate adaptation funding for smallholder farmers and agri-SMEs has become urgent, there has been a concurrent realization that the infrastructure to effectively channel this finance where it needs to go does not exist. Let me give you an example. So we were talking to some of the financiers we work with, and we are asking, so give us your portfolio in climate mitigation and adaptation. In the end, what you get is a blanket. Agriculture loans, see, they are climate finance. Asset finance, a tractor here, an irrigation equipment here, see, it is climate finance. So there's a blanket around it. So there's a need to develop a taxonomy or a way to classify this climate finance so that we are able to push financing, climate financing, to businesses. So that taxonomy is needed. So there's space there. That is why you're the BASP. So the large financing gap can be simply understood as a function of three factors. Investment readiness. The fact that many agri-SMEs describe an investment need but do not meet the minimum requirements for investors. So they describe a need, but they don't meet the requirements of the investor. Product availability. Even when agri-SMEs are investor ready, they are not financing products in the market that meet their needs and their investment profile. So even if I'm investment ready, the product that suits me does not exist. And number three, the volume of capital. Even when the agri-SMEs are investment ready and they are matching financial products, there is not enough capital or the right profile to meet the need. That's the BASPs. Today I'm just showing you your case, the case for your existence. So and I want to give an example of Hello Tractor, one of our farms. So they worked with the Fee Consult to unlock financing. I told you we work with the BASP, so we incentivize them to help unlock financing where it is needed. So they worked with them, and I got data from Moses that the country has 20,000 tractors. You know, agriculture has to be mechanized. even if we have wars in Kericho. The future of agriculture really is mechanization and agtech. So through structuring some financing with Hello Tractors, I would say there are 20,000 tractors and we need more than 100,000. So through supporting Hello Tractor to get financing, they were able now to bridge the gap and have all these people get access to a tractor just through an app. Meaning you don't need to own a tractor anymore. We hail tractors. That's like we are hailing Ubers. And through that, we have seen so many youth become agents of Hello Tractor. And so many youths be able to support. You see these smallholders with an acre here, a half there. That is not cost effective for mechanization. But through those kind of linkages, then we have more people able to plow their land, do what they need with the tractors. So the BASP is here. Understanding the model of the farm, the big farm, the anchor farm, and understanding the chain that anchor farm works in, and structuring the finance to enable the farmer plow their land on time. Because our farmers are rain-fed. Meaning if I don't prepare the land in time, the rain has come, the rain has gone. That's the BASP. So why the BASP again? Because what does the agri-SME need? They want to finance growth, their day-to-day operations, and their cash flow. They want to expand markets. They need to finance assets, human and intellectual capital. They need to adapt to changing environments. Adaptation of the business and operational model to regulatory consumer preference and climate change. That's the BASP. So we are saying, what percent was that again? You have 93. 93 is it? 83% of agri-SME financing need is unmet. It means we can't just continue assuming that me as a business, I know what the investor wants. I don't. And even where I get to know, maybe the product is not structured in the way that suits my business. And finally, when the product is there, I'm investor ready, there is not enough flow of financing to capitalize all that. That is why the BASPs exist. We are going to unlock financing for our SMEs. We cannot unlock them as is, waiting for the banks to understand. We need the gap, and we need those that bridge that gap. So you're so important to our economy right now. And then we say, so how do we continue our work with BASP? We say we must have an institution that supports this to grow. So SBS is developing this curriculum. And I keep saying it's like a tiered thing. It's like an elevator. I am briefcase. So I come in at lift number 1. And when I come in, I find a curriculum and support that's tailored to me so that I can unlock capital further up at level 11. You are at level 7. So you enter the elevator at level 7. You still find in here a curriculum tailored to your needs so that you stop working at just level 7 and go to level 11. So all of you enter this elevator where you are, find a structured curriculum and support, capacity building support, so that in the end you're able to unlock more financing with the work that you are doing. In the end, it's not just the strategies, business strategy, law, legal, and all that. In the end, SMEs are starved of financing. So that's why our partnership with SBS is so important, and that's why you are important, and that's why this is an exciting and important thought leadership session. And I hope we come out of here inspired to see the space that we need to play in and just do it. So thank you very much.